Everybody is guilty for all the good they didn't do. That is a tough pill to swallow. But for me, it wasn't just an abstract idea, it was a reality I've lived. Looking back, I've realized that what we are today doesn't define what we could have been. And sometimes it's the choices we dismiss that shape us the most. There was a time in my life when I believed that staying silent was much more easier than speaking up. But I didn't just learn that from my own experiences. Hello, everyone. I am Maryam Reda, and allow me to tell you about what I've learned from Muna, or my mom. Muna was a force to be reckoned with. The top of her university, her face and name were plastered across our small town's newspapers, celebrated as a brilliant mind with endless potential. She had dreams and ambitions. She had the whole world at her feet. But life doesn't always play out the way it should. My dad's side of the family did not entertain the idea of a woman working, and they made sure she knew it. My mom, who had so much spirit and fire within her, turned the other cheek. She let the weight of their expectations crush her dreams, and so her aspirations slowly faded into the background. Now in her mid 40s, she has raised 5 independent children, including me. Children who are strong, capable, and determined, all thanks to her. But there is this part in her that still aches for the life she could have had. Sometimes when the house is quiet, she talks about it, not with rage or resentment, but with sadness that cuts deep. A sadness coming from knowing that she had so much more to give but never got the chance. A sadness that screams within her that's in question over and over. What could I have been? And it makes me wonder, what could I be? Till this day, my mother wonders what she could have been if she had stood her ground. She still wonders what heights she could have reached if she didn't let others silence her. It made me realize that silence is a choice too, one that can shape my life as profoundly as any other action. And every time I'd let an opportunity slip by, I was unknowingly limiting the person I could have become. The chances I've let slip stay with me just as the ones I've taken. They always feel like unfinished stories, each whispering over and over what might have been. And every time I'd let an opportunity slip by, I wasn't just holding myself back. I was holding back the versions of myself who could have been stronger, braver, or simply more impactful. And of course, many opportunities did pass by me, but not because I didn't recognize them or because of lack of recognition, but because of the invisible barriers I've created for myself. One of the greatest barriers was the fear of judgment. I've always worried about what people might think of me if I embarrass myself, if I stand out too much. It is a fear that has been with me since first grade. Too scared to engage in class, too afraid to join competitions, all because I didn't want to be laughed at. And even now, I catch myself often hesitating to share my thoughts and ideas. Because the reality is, people's expectations are simply suffocating. And maybe that is the cruelest part of it all. Have let those expectations limit my freedom. It's as if I'd rather stay silent than risk truly being seen. Just as Marguerite de Navarre once asked us, is it better to speak or to die? For me, the answer has often been silence, as if silence can somehow protect me from failure. But the truth is, staying safe, staying silent, it doesn't protect me, it traps me. And while the immediate comfort of staying put might always feel like a relief, it always comes with regrets. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the illusion of safety. This rhymes with a famous concept by Martin Seligman's learned helplessness theory. It is the same reason why a bird does not flee from its cage, although the cage has long been open. Yes, sticking to the familiar is easier, safer, more predictable, but it limits my growth. And my mom, she's the one who taught me this lesson in a way no one else can. No matter how brilliant or hardworking she was, she never got the chances she deserved. Life was not fair to her. But even in the face of all that, she never stopped believing in the power of trying. She showed me through her struggles and sacrifices how much potential can be lost when life doesn't give you a chance. And it truly breaks my heart to think of how many dreams she had to set aside for us. Now, it makes me determined. I don't want to look back and see doors I didn't step through, opportunities I didn't take because I was afraid. I don't want my potential to be held and locked away just because I was too afraid to risk failure. And now I know that the only way I can honor these dismissed chances, the ones she didn't take, and the ones I've let slip by, is to stop waiting, to stop hesitating, and to start trying. Maybe you have felt the same. Maybe there was a time you didn't take a leap of faith, didn't say yes to an opportunity because it felt too risky. Or maybe you told yourself, I'll do it tomorrow, sticking to the hope that tomorrow will be kinder. But that tomorrow never came. Or maybe you are just another Muna. What would you have become if you had only taken the chance? This is the weight of what could have been, a burden we all carry. But it doesn't have to weigh you down. It doesn't have to be a punishment. Instead, it can be a reminder of the strength it takes to move on and be something more, the person you were always meant to be. So I ask you today, what are you dismissing in your life? What chances, what risks, what dreams are you letting go of? The person you are today doesn't limit the person you can become tomorrow. True growth does not come from avoiding fears, it comes from facing them, from stepping forward even when it's uncomfortable, to leave your final touches to the world and make your own change. And of course, to you, Muna, Mom, you've carried the weight of dreams unfulfilled, and your story will always continue to shape mine. For the sake of what you have long lost, I'll speak when you couldn't. I'll try when it feels impossible. I'll walk through doors you never had the chances to step through. I'll carry you within me in everything I do. When I hesitate, when I want to hide, I'll think about you, about how you taught me that I cannot afford to stay silent and wait for the perfect moment. Your story always reminds me that I do have a choice. I can let fear dictate my life and my story, or I can honor you by doing the things you didn't dare to do. And I owe it to myself and to you to push myself further and make my story one that you could be proud of. Not because I'll get it right, but because I'll never stop showing up. And that, I think, is the best way I can honor the person or the version of yourself that you have long lost and honor the person I still have the chances to be. I am willing to rewrite and end the story you have long left unfinished. Yes, maybe I cannot change our past, but I refuse to let it repeat itself.